Kourtney Kardashian breaks silence after kicking Kris Jenner out of her house. Kourtney became extremely angry after Kris tried to get back in touch with her and restore the relationship between them, because Kourtney previously broke off all contact between them and decided to distance herself from her mum for a while, since Kris never treated Kourtney the same as her other daughters. And recently, Kris tried to make amends, but Kourtney kicked her out of her house. Therefore, Kourtney and Travis went to a holiday home so that they were far away from the family. Kourtney was even thinking about moving. But now that they are back in their own environment, the peace is over. What is Kourtney going to do?
I'm not going to be around people that bring me down on a daily basis and criticize if I'm this, if I'm that. I'm just doing my best.
According to Chloe, Kourtney is seriously considering moving north with the whole family so that she is not constantly surrounded by Kris and the rest of the family, and she is not constantly confronted with this negative energy. This news has of course also reached Kris, and she is not happy about it, to put it mildly. It has caused another major drama. So what happened? Despite being Kris's firstborn child, Kourtney's relationship with Kris has always been very complicated. They've had several serious altercations since the family's reality show was launched back in 2007. Kris always tried to get into Kourtney's business and control her. Besides that, Kourtney still holds a lot of resentment towards Kris because Kourtney was very close to her late father Robert Kardashian Sr., and Kris broke up the family when she cheated on Robert with former professional soccer player Todd Waterman. Kourtney and Kris had an explosive argument over Kris's affair after Kris tried to compare her cheating with Todd to Kourtney having a relationship with her then-boyfriend Eunice Benjima. But as Kourtney pointed out, her situation with Eunice was completely different because she wasn't married to Scott. They weren't even in a relationship at the time.
Don't. I'm actually not married. Right, and I'm not having an affair. You can't compare one to the other. That's absolutely not true.
Also keep in mind that Kourtney was 12 years old when her father Robert divorced Kris, which means she probably vividly remembers how much pain and drama Kris caused to the family with her affair, and it's really messed up for Kris to compare what she did to Kourtney dating Eunice. But this wasn't the only time Kris tried to humiliate Kourtney on their reality show. After Kourtney finally ended things with Scott for good, Kris suddenly started pressing her to get married to Scott, and Kardashian fans speculated that Kris only wanted Scott to stay around because he was entertaining for the show. Even after Kourtney made it clear that she wanted to date someone else after spending years being on and off with Scott, Kris still tried to shame her for trying to live her life.
My whole family, for a couple years now, love to just bring up me and Scott.
And I think he fits well with all of us because we've all been around each other for so long. I think at this stage, from what he tells me, he would love for it to be you and him.
He's a talker.
And as you all probably know, Kris manages all of her children and apparently takes 10% from the children's businesses. Kourtney herself hired Kris to manage her back in 2008. However, it seems like Kris never trusted Kourtney to make it big, and she decided to focus on her two most profitable daughters, Kim and Kylie. Kris even missed Kourtney's first ever photo shoot as her manager because back then she was still busy trying to push Kim into the spotlight following Kim's private tape scandal. Kourtney even tried to fire Kris 3 or 4 times. Rumors went around that Kourtney finally managed to escape Kris's clutches and got herself a new manager. Apparently, this didn't go over too well with Kris, and fans speculated that Kris ignored Kourtney on purpose and refused to promote her business ventures just because she couldn't beg her 10%. It's also very odd that Kris didn't post any photos of Kourtney at the 2022 Oscars, despite Kourtney being the first Kardashian gender member to attend the event. Before we move on to Kourtney's decision, like this video and subscribe to our channel to be informed about new juicy Kardashian updates. To continue with Kris's childish actions, she completely ignored the launch of Kourtney's Lemmy gummies, but she continued to post every Skims, Good American and Kylie Cosmetics drop. Kris is all about the cash, and she's mad that she can't make 10% from Kourtney's business ventures. That's why Kris refuses to promote Kourtney's businesses, because even if she no longer manages Kourtney, she doesn't want to help out her own daughter. Fans dragged Kris and the rest of the Kardashian sisters for ignoring Kourtney, and they're calling them hypocrites because they've been shaming Kourtney for years for not having a business and accusing her of being lazy. But now that Kourtney started something of her own without her momager's help, they're showing zero support. Sources close to Kourtney are saying that she's as unbothered as ever and is enjoying the peace and quiet that comes from not dealing with the family on a daily basis. For this reason, Kourtney decided to distance herself from her mom because Kris never treated Kourtney the same as her other daughters. Kris resents Kourtney for not making it easy for her to manipulate her decisions in her career and personal life. Kim and the others are her puppets and moneymakers, while Rob and Kourtney lived life on their terms. Since Kourtney began going to therapy, she has been open about how she's managed to notice her family's toxic dynamics and behavioral patterns. But most of Kourt's family members have made it known over the years that they're not quite as keen to seek therapy when it comes to working on themselves. Nonetheless, Kourtney has continued to try to explain the importance of therapy to her family members numerous times over the years. She even tried to talk about therapy with Kris several times, but Kris cut her off and diverted the topic every time. This left Kourtney unable to discuss her issues with Kris. Kourtney revealed that she tried to talk to Kris about this one last time to improve their relationship. But a major argument arose, and Kourtney broke off all contact. This went well for a month. According to Kourtney, Kris regularly called her or sent a message, but Kourtney ignored this and it then remained quiet. They did see each other at family gatherings, such as birthdays and holidays. But during these moments, Kourtney kept her distance from Kris. But she couldn't ignore it anymore because Kim and Kris showed up at the door to mediate. For Kris to make up with Kourtney and for Kim to discuss things with Travis, they planned to take the couple out for dinner, but this didn't sit well with Travis. According to The Insider, Travis has said that they should leave Kourtney alone for good and respect Kourtney's boundaries because she has said so many times that she doesn't want to be so involved within the family.
If they wanted privacy, I would never follow them or expose them. We're all different, and this is the kind of stuff that makes me feel that they put the show over me and my well-being and protecting me and just me as a person.
It turns out that Kim then made an extremely mean comment to Travis, and this was the last straw for Travis. He kicked Kim out of the house. Kris then started crying and wanted to continue talking to Kourtney. But according to The Insider, Kris opened up about all the things she thinks Kourtney is doing wrong. After which, Kourtney also kicked Kris out of the house. It seems that Kris made a very hurtful comment. As a result, Kourtney and Travis went straight to a holiday home to get away from the family, and this is where Kourtney started thinking about moving. Khloe reveals Kourtney is already looking at properties up north and has said she will now choose her own happiness once and for all. With this idea, she can visit her family, and this would be better for everyone.